I've got a big-time guest joining me. He is one of the upcoming rising stars in all college basketball, a guy that has his chance of being drafted even next year. He had a huge offseason going to the NBA Draft Combine, and he's now going to be one of the feature guys and potentially lead a team that's going to be a potential top 10 team heading into the season this upcoming year at Creighton, and that's Trey Alexander. Trey, appreciate you taking time to come on today, man. Absolutely. So I just talked a little bit about this past offseason for yourself, and it was a little bit different than other ones that you've had so far because you got to go out to the NBA Combine and your stock started to skyrocket. You became a guy that people were saying this could be a guy that legitimately gets drafted this past draft. But walk us through this whole draft process and offseason for yourself so far.
It was a great process. I was able to, like you said, be able to go to the NBA draft combine, be able to meet with a couple teams, a couple of execs, and then be able to have a lot of workouts. So it was great to hear their feedback and hear things that they said that they feel like I could do in that upcoming draft or even this upcoming draft this year. So it just made me very excited, and it was a great offseason.
So when you were going through the draft process and you saw your name start to skyrocket because we saw mock drafts and stuff starting to slot you in there as a second round draft pick. And when you first went in, a lot of people said, okay, we know he's good, but where exactly would he be? What went through your mind? What led you to ultimately say, you know what? I know that I could potentially get drafted this year, but I want to go take at least one more year in college and come back and play collegiate basketball one more time at least.
I just felt like last year's draft it was a lot of guys in there that
Yeah.
really could potentially had came back to school, and yet they still ended up getting drafted. And I felt like that last year's draft was also very stacked in terms of the talent and a lot of guys that people were thinking were going to go first round ended up going second round, and then a lot of guys ended up going second round that were supposed to be first round. So I don't know. I just feel like it was a lot more stacked draft last year, and I also just wanted to be able to work on my game, get another year of college basketball up under my belt, and really show scouts what I could do at the collegiate level. And then just work on those things that I wanted to work on and hopefully be able to turn myself into a first round pick this year.
Were you even shocked a little bit by how much you skyrocketed? Because when we look at your career so far, your first year you primarily come off the bench. Then last year you have a pretty big breakout season, become the go-to starter, your second leading scorer on the team. To see yourself just in a 2-year standpoint go from being a guy just trying to find your role in college basketball, not starting it, to becoming a guy that people say could be one, potentially even an All-American this season, being a guy that could, like I just said, get drafted this past year. Was any of this kind of surprising to you and just how quickly it shifted from one role to the next?
It happened pretty fast, so I really wasn't able to, kind of look back and be like, dang, like that, it happened that quick. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just a lot of off season work. I feel like going into my first year, I really didn't know what I felt like my role was going to be. I felt like I wasn't in that kind of unconfident stage, like where most freshmen come into. Like you don't know where you're going to be played at. You're just trying to find your niche out there and be able to stay on the floor. So I feel like that's how that went. And then after my first year, I kind of knew that I wanted to be one of the guys on the team, and I knew that we were going to have a very talented team, and I knew what my role was going to be in terms of what I would make it. So
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was just a real grinded out off season. I was able to, find out what I wanted to do last year and be able to showcase what I could really do.
All right, so I got to ask one part about that because you decided to come back to college on the final day. And I know you were kind of entertaining and hinting at some stuff throughout the day where it kind of felt like, okay, I think there's a pretty good chance he returns. What was that one day like? Were you purposely kind of delaying it a little bit to kind of build up the hype at all? Or what was that final day when you announced you're coming back to Crayon like?
It actually wasn't. I wasn't even really trying to hint at anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like me and my family, like we came to a conclusion the day of like the last day that you could possibly do it. We were really back and forth for a long time. I was actually going to stay in the draft for a long time. Like that's kind of where my head was at. That's kind of what me and my family had talked about. And then
Mm-hmm.
the last day, we just felt like it was best that I went back to college. So uh, it's just God's plan. I feel like that's where my faith has taken me, and I put my faith in the God, and I feel like that's where He wants me to be. And I feel like everybody's process is different, and I feel like my process is what I'm going through right now. So.
How big has it been for you to be able to rely on God? Because I know you are believers. So kind of just take us through that a little bit, knowing that, you're going through these ups and downs. And we'll talk a little about your freshman year. I know things were not going so well in the beginning parts. I know you're struggling a little bit, just mental wise, trying to fit into your role and everything. And just kind of relying through the ups and downs throughout your college career so far. How big has your faith and trust in God been for you?
It's been great because, I mean, obviously, just like anybody, when you have a rough patch in your life, you feel like you have have to find something to fall back on. That's always been my loved ones and my faith. So I mean, I pray every night about what I want in my life, but also just helping the Lord keep me as a vessel and being able to showcase
Mhm.
what He has for me in this life. And I feel like he kind of led me towards what I felt like was supposed to be me coming into a new era in my life, which was me being able to, be a better basketball player and being able to find that role and being able to find myself again in terms of basketball in the game that I love. So from then on, I just kind of kept relying on God and prayed about everything that's happened throughout the course of my life. And I mean, it's always been that way, and it's never failed me up to this point. So.
What would you say has been the biggest moment you've had to rely on God and He's helped you get through it?
I would definitely say probably my freshman year,
Mm.
because I was contemplating whether I wanted to still hoop anymore, and I felt like it was just one of those things I really wasn't having that much fun with it. It was
Mhm.
one of those things like coming out of high school, like I had so much fun with it, and it was something that I wanted to do, take with my career path, and something that I did every day to the point with my freshman year where I just didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore, and so I prayed about it and talked to God about it, and then I haven't looked back since. So he really just took me into a more of a grinding stage than I've ever been throughout the course of my basketball career. So, and I feel like that's why I'm reaping the benefits now.
So I do want to touch up a little bit on that freshman time period for yourself because you come in and you've been the guy for a long time. Throughout your high school career, you're the go-to guy. You're a top-ranked guy. AAU, you're playing as one of the lead guys. You come into a role where you obviously, like I said, we're not starting. You had to come off the bench for a little bit until you got that starting opportunity when Ryan got hurt. How did you get through that? And what ultimately gave you the saying in your mind to say, you know what, I do want to come back and I want to keep playing this game of basketball. I know it might be tough. I know it might be hard, but I'm going to stay true to this. I'm going to keep working. What kind of gave you the confidence to say, I'm going to stick to this game?
I just felt like it was I put too much work in to kind of quit on it. At that point, I felt like I spent countless hours in the gym, and I felt like it was just something that I knew that I had a love for. I just had to find it again. So
Mm.
throughout the course of that freshman year, I was just kind of there for a minute, and then as Ryan went down, it was kind of like one of those moments where you have to take it upon yourself to kind of say, okay, like this is my role now. I have to do this, or my team will lose. So it's not really just me at this point; it's me playing for my teammates as well and playing for the other four guys on the court. So that's kind of what I had to do.
We're going to see it probably a little bit more, at least in my opinion, of you getting to be the go-to guy this season now and probably even have a more role at the point guard spot sometimes too. How much would you say getting that little bit of an opportunity to step in for Ryan during that freshman season is now going to help you heading into this year now?
I feel like it helps a lot. Playing the one, you have to know where everybody's doing,
Mhm.
whatever play running. So I feel like that's helped me a lot. Even this past year, I've had to know where guys are, even when I'm at the two. So I
Mhm.
just feel like it adds an extra bonus for you and your teammates because you can kind of lead them throughout the course of the year, and you can also teach the young guys what they have to know about and what spots they have to know. And I just feel like it's one of those things to where like I feel that I'll be able to do my best, and I feel like I'll be able to showcase a lot of what people don't know that I could do at the one. So, I'm excited about it.
So how much can we expect to see at the one? Because I know you guys don't necessarily have a true point guard that came in to replace Ryan. So I think it's going to be more of a you, Steven, kind of going back and forth. Baylor can obviously handle the ball still. How much can we expect to see you running the guard at the guard spot and kind of help facilitating the offense this year?
I feel like you'll see me a lot more doing it this year. Me and Steven, we play off of each other, so I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be able to bring the ball up a lot. He'll be able to bring the ball up a lot. It really doesn't matter. I feel like there are some sets where I start at the one, and there are some sets where Steven's at the one, and I feel like him being the great shooter that he is, it kind of complements me being able to make reads and being able to come off of ball screens and being able to hit anybody because I feel like we have such a great shooting team. I feel like everybody on the court will be able to shoot this year at a high level, and I feel like that's going to make it to where teams are going to have to be spaced out, and then everybody will be able to do their thing. So.
All right, so walk us through this roster because it looks like a lot of a new team now. Because the first couple of years, you guys had that recruiting class, and you guys pretty much stuck together with you and Art and Ryan and company. And now you go and you and Ryan are returning, Baylor's returning. But you guys lose obviously Art, Ryan Nemhardt's gone now. You guys add in Steven, you guys add in Isaac. You guys get a lot of different stuff switching around now on this team. What's the feeling like of this team so far? Are you guys gelling well, or what's the look of the team sounding like so far?
Yeah, we've been gelling well. I feel like it's gelled a lot quicker than a lot of people would think, but I feel like it's happened as quick as I'd expected. I mean, we have a lot of unselfish guys on our team, a lot of guys on our team that just want to win, and I
Mhm.
feel like we all have the same goal in mind. And I feel like when that's the case, that it kind of comes easier. So I think that a lot of the guys that are on the team this year are going to help get us back to the point that we were last year, and hopefully get over that hump. So I
Mhm.
think that this team is going to be able to going to show that we can play a lot better together. I mean, obviously the team last year was very talented individually, and I feel like as individually, like I felt our first five stacked up as the best first five in the country last year, and I feel like this year this team's going to gel well a lot better than it did last year.
Were you at all shocked by some of the moves? Because I know in the transfer portal things can happen, and you never really know what's going to happen. But were you at all shocked when you knew that Ryan and Art were leaving? Did you kind of have a heads up beforehand, or what was your thoughts when that all originally went down?
I mean, it was a surprise. You don't expect things like that. I mean, especially after how much success that you have that followed that past year. So, I don't. I mean, I kind of figured that we would have some people moving around. I didn't expect anybody in the first five to, but it was Art and Ryan were both surprises to me. But I mean, they both told me beforehand that they like even before they even told the coaching staff that they were going to leave because I mean that's how close we were as brothers. So I feel like it just
Okay.
goes to show that we have that type of bond, and I mean regardless of what team we're playing for, we're still brothers at the end of the day, and that's how I feel. I want the best for them, and I know that they want the best for me. So at the end of the day, it's all love for sure.
You kind of talked a little bit about the difference. Obviously, last year, like you mentioned, you guys had tons of talent, guys that could have professional careers playing after college basketball. And you kind of mentioned this team might have a little bit more chemistry aspect. Like you guys are still very, very talented, but there's probably a little bit more chemistry, camaraderie between you two. Walk us through that a little bit. Like, how much difference do you think people can expect between this past 2 years teams?
I mean, this year's team, I feel like we're just gonna shoot the three ball a lot more. I think that we're gonna shoot a lot of threes this year, kind of how the McDermott area has been for the most part.
Mhm.
You see a lot of run and gun offense. You'll see a lot of threes taken, a lot of threes makes, and obviously we still got the big fella inside, so we're definitely
Yeah.
going to get him involved with some plays that get him easy looks and things like that. But I don't know. I just feel like as a team this year, I feel like the offense is going to look a little bit more free flowing in terms of
Mhm.
like moving it around a little more, and everybody's going to be in different spots, and I think that's going to make us just that much harder to guard. So.
So you look at your first 2 seasons and how far you guys went in the NCAA tournament. The first year you guys lose in the second round to Kansas. Last year you guys make an Elite Eight run and lose to San Diego State, who ends up obviously going to the national championship. You look at this upcoming season and you guys return a few guys. You guys add in the piece we talked about. How good do you think this year's team can be? And can you guys even potentially make a national championship run this year?
Definitely. I feel like we can. I feel like we have the talent to do it. I feel like we have the guys to do it, and I feel like everybody's bought in.
Mm.
I feel like that's most of the battle right there is finding 15 guys that buy into their role and finding those leaders that you have established at the beginning of the year and having those guys lead throughout the course of the year. Because I mean, as of last year, I feel like we could have won a national championship last year, and I feel like it was just a couple things here and there that we could have did better with, but obviously we
Mm.
had our growing pains last year having a 6 game lull. But I feel like those type of moments, that adversity kind of helps you down the stretch, and so I feel like that's why we were able to get to that position last year. But with this group this year, I feel like everybody's so much more experienced. I feel like we've
Mm.
already been through that adversity, so we won't really have to. Hopefully, we won't have a type of lull like we did last year, and we'll be able to kind of play the course of the season and be able to win a lot of games this year, and hopefully be able to make that national championship run.
So I do want to get into yourself as well because, like I mentioned earlier, you had last year a breakout season compared to your freshman season. You became a really good player in the conference, biggest all honorable mention. But this year, I feel like you have a chance to be the biggest breakout player in the country. I think you're a guy that it would not shock me if you average 16, 20 type points somewhere there, type of point per game score. Be a guy that's an All American even this year, and let alone obviously being an All Big East first team selection. Like I think you have a chance to truly make that next jump to being one of truly the premier players in all college basketball. How do you feel heading into the season about yourself, though?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just a guy who likes to win. I feel like if I have to
Hmm.
score for us to win, then that's what I'll do. If I have to defend the other team's best player, that's what I'll do. But I mean, I feel like with winning comes accolades. So I mean, at the end of
Sure.
the day, I'm worried. I'm worried about one thing, and I mean, everybody. The thing about this team, everybody knows their role at the end of the day. So we know who the guys are. We know who does what at what spots, who does these things the best. So I mean, that's just another one of the good things about this team is that we're very unselfish and we want what's best for each other. And I mean, I haven't. Of course, everybody has their goals, but I feel like at the end of the day, my biggest goal is winning, and I feel like things will come through with us winning this year. I mean, you don't remember a lot of people that lose, so.
Hmm. How confident do you feel for yourself personally heading into this year in terms of what you're capable of getting done? Because your freshman year, you're just getting adjusted to college life. Last year, you get a starting role, so you're kind of adjusting to that. This is the first time I feel like you're kind of heading into the year knowing what's up. You know that what the expectations are for yourself. How confident are you just in yourself personally heading into the year?
I have the utmost confidence in myself. I don't think I've had as much confidence in myself in my basketball career more than I do now. I just feel like I'm very confident in myself in terms of doing anything that I want to on the basketball court. I've watched a lot of film. I've done a lot of put a lot of work into the gym, and I feel like those are the two key components that you need to be able to have that confidence. And I feel like as you get stronger and you get more explosive and things like that, that's just another bonus to being able to make things happen on the basketball court. So I mean, as my basketball journey continues, I just feel like I'm getting better as a player, and I feel like that's one of the most confident things that you can have. So.
So we're gonna go back a little bit because last time I had you on the show was right before you officially commit originally to Auburn back in 2021 or whatever that was. And so I kind of want to go through that recruiting process a little bit because when you decide to go to Auburn, you commit there, you go with Bruce Pearl, and you're signed there for what is about 5-ish months, whatever that was. Take us through that thought process because I was reading a little bit about it. I know you mentioned that back then that they didn't keep their word on some stuff. Walk us through that original process. Like, what made you say, you originally wanted to go to Auburn? And then what led to you officially decommitting and reopening that recruiting process then?
I just felt like throughout the course of the process that I felt like that I would have a bigger role somewhere at Creighton. I feel like at Creighton I could have a chance to be a potential starter, and I could be able to play a much bigger role rather than being at Auburn, where you have a lot of guys coming in transferring and things like that. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to come to Creighton was because I felt like those things could happen, and I felt like it was just keeping my faith again. I feel like I prayed about it, and it was just one of those things that I felt God led me to. So that was definitely one of the more decisions that I've definitely leaned back on my faith as well.
There was an interesting part going through that because originally Creighton had a top ranked recruiting class and they had guys like Ty coming in. And obviously, then the whole suspension happened with Coach McDermott and all that unfolded. What at that point in time gave you the confidence to say, okay, I know everything going on. I know what could be happening right now, Coach McDermott, but I feel confident saying, you know what? I want him to be my coach. He's the guy I want to have coaching me throughout my college career.
I've just watched a lot of Creighton basketball. And I feel like it fitted my game just super well. I felt like Creighton basketball was a lot of free flowing offense, a lot of three shot, and I felt like it translated a lot to the NBA game. So I felt like that was one of the biggest reasons that I chose was because I felt like the transition from college to the NBA wouldn't be as hard when I did
Hmm.
decide to make that decision. So.
Well, take us through Coach McDermott because he obviously is a great coach. He's accomplished a ton throughout his career so far. What's it been like just being coached by him and growing in your guys' relationship over the past few years?
Yeah, it's been great. Me and Mac have a good relationship. He's a great person, very down to earth, doesn't really yell a lot. But he's gonna be honest with you. He's he's one of the very few guys that just will be very straight up with you and not sugarcoat anything. And I feel like he's fed me confidence throughout my collegiate career, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I wanted out of my coach was for him to, not really bottle up my game, and I feel like he hasn't done that at all. I feel like he's actually let me showcase my game very much well at the collegiate level. So I'm very thankful for Coach McDermott and the trust that he's put in me and the just the wisdom that he's gave me over the years as well.
What would you say has been the favorite memory that you've created so far, Coach McDermott?
I would probably say probably after the San Diego State game my freshman year. That was definitely one of the more connecting moments me and Coach had. I feel like it was one of those things like you have two of your best players go down, and then it's one of those things like you're the massive underdog at that point. So just being able to make big plays down the stretch, and having him call my number on a lot of those plays and trusting me to run the one and being able to pull out that game that was one of my most favorite basketball memories ever. So that was a very connected moment between me and Coach McDermott.
How much would you say your guys' relationship has grown? Because your first year to your second year, now your third year, where would you say you guys have grown the most in your guys' relationship?
I feel like he just treats me as one of the leaders on the team. Like he always talks to me about how practice went. He tells me some of the plays that he wants to incorporate, or like some spots that he sees me being able to play, and what things we can just do better on the court as a team, and how I felt about practice and things of that sort. Just things that coaches do with some of their better players on the team and some of their leaders on the team. So I feel like he's definitely made that jump with me in terms of treating me like one of the leaders on the team.
Now, in terms of some of the guys on the roster, the first guy I want to talk about is Ryan because you two have not been together for a couple of years. He's one of the premier defensive players in all the country, and you two get to kind of form that guard and big man duo, which we know can be special, especially at the college game. How close are you two, and what's it just been like seeing the way your guys' relationship and chemistry on the court has grown over the past couple of years?
Yeah, me and Ryan are really close. We Our lockers are right next to each other, and
Hmm.
we live next to each other and everything. That's my guy. So I feel like we have a great relationship. We are very confident in each other. He's been obviously trying to work on some things like being able to shoot the three and things of that sort. So I mean, we play together and practice all the time, and I'm always hitting him on the pop, and he's just asking me what spots he thinks that he can roll, or what spots I think that he can pop and things, and not really mess up the flow of the offense. So Ryan's going to be great this year, as everybody would expect, and I mean I think we'll be able to see another great showing from him this year, and I feel like our two man game is going to be at its best with him being able to adding the shot to his game. So.
So you're kind of hinting that we might be able to see a little bit more potential 3-point action from Ryan this upcoming year then?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Now, a couple of the guys on this roster, though, you guys have brought back Baylor and also added in guys like Isaac, Steven, Jonathan Lawson. How would you see those new guys, though, have been adjusting to this roster? How well they fit in with you guys, and how are you guys' relationship so far?
Steven's great. I mean, that's the first person that comes to mind when you think of the transfer portal. Obviously,
Hmm.
he's going to be trying to, fill in the Ryan Nembhard spot at the one. I feel like he was a great addition for us. He's come in. He's been a leader. He's been vocal. Very shoots the ball really well at a very high clip. Makes great decisions, and he's a very unselfish guy. I mean, he's an everyday type of person. So definitely one of those guys that everybody would love to have in their locker room. Isaac Trout, he's a 6'10" forward that can play the five. He shoots the ball really well as well. He gives us kind of that. I mean, you can call it small ball look, but because he plays a forward, but I feel like he really gives us a good small ball look, and he'll be able to help us this year. And Jonathan Lawson as well. I feel like he's long. He can shoot it. He plays defense. So it really helps bring to that. Cause like I was saying earlier, that Coach McDermott type of feel. That 3-point shooting, high clip guys
Yeah.
that can shoot the ball at a high clip, and I feel like every guy that we brung in this year is going to be able to do that. So it just
Mhm.
really just helps everybody space the floor out and be able to make the offense go.
So, who are you most excited to go up against this season? You guys got a stacked Big East once again. It's going to be a great conference. You guys got some nice matchups in the out of conference play, though. Is there one game you got circled on your calendar right now?
Definitely UConn and Marquette. Those are two of the
Hmm.
people that I want to play. I feel like UConn's got a lot of offseason buzz coming off a national championship, as they should, but
Yeah.
I feel like Marquette beat us twice last year. I mean, once without Ryan, but another time at home. And I feel like we got to get them back. I mean, it's kind of gotten even. Well, no, it isn't even. Yeah, I beat them 3 times, they beat me twice, but they beat us twice last year, and we weren't able to get one. And they won, the Big East regular season and they were able to go far in the tournament. So I feel like
Mhm.
those are two of the teams that I really want to play this year.
All right, so you guys also just recently got back from the Bahamas. You guys go on that foreign tour. I know you went back, you got headed out a little bit earlier than everyone else did, but for you, just going out there and getting some real live action with the guys, getting to step on the court for the first time with them, you also just getting to go out there and be the guy, and you had a really good show in those games as well. What was that whole foreign tour experience like?
It was great. It was, it was nothing better than being out of the country, being on the beach, being at
Hmm.
one of the better resorts in the whole world. So it was real cool and being able to hoop. So it was everything that you could ask for in the off season. And obviously we were able to gel as a team. We were able to play some good ball.
Hmm.
Get out there and go undefeated and be able to, just be able to figure out each other. I feel like that was the biggest thing for us, is being able to see what everybody could do out there. And I feel like it was a great opportunity for some of those young guys who haven't played a collegiate game yet, to be able to get, something, the closest thing to it, under their belt. So I feel like it was good for everybody, and everybody had a great time. So that was really cool.
What was your favorite memory that you created from out there?
My favorite memory was probably going down one of those slides. Like it just dropped straight down. It like all of us went down it like one after the other. So it was cool, like seeing all 15 of us being able to ride it, and hearing everybody come down it. So it was cool.
So how do you guys balance that? Because I know part of it is you guys want to work on your game and go out there and play, but at the same time, for the primary factor is to get you guys more chemistry, have fun, create memories with each other. How would you say you guys balance that? And what was it like just getting to just not even on the court stuff, but just getting to hang out with the guys and just build that chemistry with each other?
It was great. It was cool. I mean, everybody loves the hoop that's on the team, so it was
Hmm.
cool just to being able to be on the bench a little bit, being able to cheer the other guys on. Because starters really didn't play that much in terms of us. Just trying to see what everybody do. Everybody could give
Sure.
give everybody free, equal playing time, and being able to see what everybody could do. So it was real cool. It was fun. I had a great time. I know the other guys did. And then, of course, being able just to be out there on the resort and have a good time, and being able to just get to know the guys more. And I feel like that's kind of was the biggest thing for us, was getting able to know each other, because we know each other on the basketball court, but getting some of that off of the court feel is good too. So.
All right, so you look at these guys. Has there been anyone that stood out to you yet? Like we know, obviously, you knew Ryan and what he's capable of. You know yourself. Has there been anyone that has maybe kind of shocked you a little bit, has come back and returned that looks a lot better, has made big strides in his game, or maybe one of the incoming guys that you say, man, you maybe were not expecting him to be this good, but he's really stepped up and he's surprised you in what he's capable of doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think of a couple people. I think of, obviously, first Baylor Shireman. I mean, I feel like he's going to be able to shoot back at that clip that he was his first 3 years of college, like him being at that, 40, high 40s, mid 40s, being able to shoot the three like that. He's really came back clipping.
Hmm.
He's also been able to have a better pick and roll game. He's added a floater to his game and improved his handle. So, Baylor's done his work in the offseason, and Steven as well. I feel like Steven, people think of him as a smaller guard, and I feel like he's going to be able to help us in terms of his shooting as well, and him being able to make reads, and just our playmaking down the stretch. I feel like that's going to be very, very good for us down the stretch. Is having a lot of guys on our team who can make plays for each other. So.
All right, so the reason you left the Bahamas early was because you got the opportunity to go out there and play or compete in the Nike Skills Academy. That's not something that everyone just gets to go to and compete in. What was it like to be able to go experience that?
It was great. I had a great time. It was a great experience. I was able to, you know, talk with some of the other top guys in the country, and being able to even connect with some of the top high schoolers in the country. So it was a great opportunity, and I loved it out there. Oregon, the Nike facility out there is really nice. It's
Hmm.
something that you'll never be able to see in your lifetime. Like it's something that everybody would want to put on their to do list before, on their bucket list. So, for me to be able to do that and be able to hoop at the same time, it's just a blessing. So,
All right, so when I was doing some research, I found out that your cousin's Mike Conley. Take us
yeah,
to that a little bit. Like, I did not know that. So, what's your relationship like?
it's good. We obviously we don't talk like every day like that, but
Sure.
we've talked, and we spoke to each other, family reunions. We haven't really been able to work out with each other because our schedules kind of, not align. They don't align at the same time, so it's been kind of
Yeah.
difficult with that. But we see him at family reunions. We speak. We just chop it up a little bit. He talks to me about how I've been doing. I talk to him how he's been doing, how he's liking it wherever he's at that moment in time. So for me to have somebody in my family that's already been through it and just kind of where I want to be in my career in terms of the
Mhm.
long run. So it's been great.
What's the biggest advice or lesson that he's taught you so far?
Just stay humble and stay passionate towards your grind. Because as you get higher up and you start going through and you see that you're kind of different from everybody else, not a lot of people are doing what you're doing. It's very easy to kind of get airheaded and kind of lose focus of your goal. You just kind of taught me that you have to keep what's first and and other stuff will always be around. So that's
Mhm.
really the biggest thing.
All right, so a few more things before I let you go. One of them is NIL wise. You've got a few different opportunities. One of them we saw with B Dubs. We saw that little promotion you did out there. What's it been like just getting to soak in and embrace the NIL lifestyle now that you guys get to experience?
It's a blessing. I mean, it's a lot of people that haven't been able to do this, and I feel like it's kind of an award to the athletes that have come through and have been able to do things at the college level. And I feel like it was well needed because, I mean, obviously our colleges make a lot of money off of us because we work as hard as we can to be able to showcase what we can do in front of thousands of fans night in and night out. So I feel like it was great for us to get this opportunity, and I feel like it was very cool for the NCAA to be able to do that. And I feel like just for me, it's taken me a lot of different places, and it's made opportunities for me and my family that not a
Mhm.
lot of people are able to have. So I'm really blessed by that, and it's just another thing that I'm very thankful for that basketball has been able to do for me. So.
How much of an impact do you think it has on the college game? Because I know people always say, okay, this is why some guys are returning to college. This is why this, that, and the third, some guys are transferring to these places or whatnot. How big of an impact do you personally see or think that NIL has had in terms of just roster construction?
I think it's had a big role. I think
Mm,
obviously you have your higher level schools that are able to provide more money for players, but
sure.
I feel like as of right now, NIL is the best way to recruit somebody just off rip. I feel like money talks to people, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's definitely one of those things that colleges have began to use, and I mean. I feel like that's something that they will continue to use as long as the rules are the way that they are. And I mean, I'm not mad at what they're doing for these college kids because a lot of people are able to change lives with the amount of money that they're able to make at the collegiate level. So I'm all for it. I mean, everybody's goals are different, and I feel like NIL has been able to help a lot of people in their families. So I'm not against it at all.
When it comes to yourself personally, how big of a role did that have on you deciding to come back to college?
Not really a big role. I feel like with what I'm trying to do with my career, I'll make a lot more money at the NBA level than I will at the
Sure.
college level. So I feel like NIL wasn't really a big factor for me. Obviously, it's a plus for somebody that wants to be able to make money at the collegiate level with their name, image, and likeness. But I
Hmm.
mean, where I'm trying to go, I feel like the money is going to be well more off than it is right now
Yeah.
at the collegiate level.
All right, so my final thing for you, you look at this upcoming season, and I know that there's a chance that this is going to be your final year in college basketball. What do you want to accomplish? Like when you talk about, if we were to talk in 1 year from now, or 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it is when the season's done, what do you want to accomplish as a team, person? Like what would make this a successful final season potentially at Creighton this year?
National championship. That's the first thing on my mind is national championship. I feel like last year left a bittersweet taste in my mouth, more bitter than it was sweet. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's added to the level of the hunger that I have for this upcoming year. And I mean, I just feel like personally, you have things that you want to do. Obviously, like you said, I would love to become an All American. I would love to be able to do all those things. But the number one thing for me right now is being able to help my team make a national championship. And I feel like that's what the focus has been from the point that we've lost to the point now. So it's going to continue to be that until I'm able to put us in that situation again.
Absolutely, man. Well, Trey, I definitely appreciate taking time to come on today, man. Keep being the light. I'm excited to see what God's got in store for you this year, man. Of
Appreciate you. Thank you.
course, you always welcome on, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. God bless.